Good morning, everyone, and hello. It is a pleasure for me to be here virtually and to have this opportunity to attend this conference. First off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kevin, and I have recently just graduated from Clark University with Dr. Bamberg as my advisor. And so over the past year, I conducted an honors thesis project on friendships, specifically how hetero-Thai males do friendships. And so a little bit into the introduction. Friendships in the European Western context has been understood to be more generative than other forms of relationships. Unlike romantic or familial relationships, friend relationships enable a certain level of freedom, which is known as relative freedom, according to Blatterer, and that allows us to be ourselves. And so it is our freedom or perceived freedom from these institutions that allow us to connect with one another for personal gain. Additionally, in the 21st century, social media has changed how we approach friendship. We now accumulate friends and befriend people more frequently. And so social media has created this connective overload where quantity and quality of friendships clash, resulting in the terms friends and friendships to become increasingly ambiguous. And so this sense of homelessness and ambiguity gave rise to a need to have a coherent self, which is what modern intimacy aims at delivering. We are constantly questioning what and who our authentic self is, and it is through friendships that we allow that to surface. Friendships has the potential to fill the anonymity and isolation modern society entails. Most importantly, however, is that friendships are dependent on place, time, and context. Like I stated earlier, Blatterer approaches friendships from a Western European perspective, and acknowledging the possibility for differences in other countries. And so it is here where I founded the basis for my study. So I set out to try and decolonize the qualitative psychological methodology and force qualitative outside the Western culture by looking into friendships in Thailand. There has been little research done regarding friendships in Thailand. From what we know, larger networks of family and friends were associated with more support from family and friends. Support is expected from families. However, friends do play a key role in encouraging family members to support other family members. And so what I wanted to do was to see participants do friendships. We have identities and narratives that are processual. So we are continuously negotiating and navigating who we are in relation to one another. And so I use Thai language to get participants to talk about their friendship experiences. And so 8 initial participants, all male identifying Thai individuals between the ages of 18 and 22, were interviewed in Thai about their experiences with their male best friend. 5 participants were then chosen for analysis, where short stories would be transcribed back into English and analyzed using Bamberg's 3 identity dilemmas: agency versus passivity, sameness versus difference, and constancy versus change. And so this type of approach allowed me to see participants do friendships and more closely analyze the storytelling process through the navigation and managing of identities. And so 3 themes arose when analyzing the 5 participants. The first theme being nothingness. And so this alludes to their way of sense-making of the dyadic friend relation. So friends don't problematize their relationships, unlike familial or romantic relationships. The dyadic friend relation is situated, meaning that they're not dependent on the activities they engage in. And so that doesn't mean that friends have no value. Rather, the activities friends engage in are independent of the strength of their relationship. They also serve as an environment they can do friendships in. In essence, nothing is happening in their friendships. They are mundane, boring almost. The second theme that arose was longevity. So what constitutes a best friend in Thailand is someone who you grew up with, someone you've known since you were a child. And this allows participants to engage in friendships for longer periods of time and develop certain nuances and nonverbal cues that are unique to each dyadic relation. Excuse me. Through time, they built trust, which translates to a more comfortable space to be our authentic self in. And while the first 2 themes aren't particularly unique to Thailand, the last theme is. which is that friends hold more importance to the individual than the family. Much of Thailand's social structures are rapidly changing. Pro-democratic protests led by college students have shifted social relations to become more political, anti-monarchy and anti-establishment, yet all under the guise of Buddhism and modernity. The Confucian values that have dominated Thai society are at the center of the movement, and there now exists a need for individualism in the collective society that is Thailand. And so family and familial relations still remain important. They are just evolving to become more Westernized. And so this study provides an initial benchmark for literature on Thai friendships and how Thai individuals make sense of their own and their best friend's identity. It is important to stress that I'm not generalizing my findings to the larger Thai population. By intensely analyzing the subjective experiences of each participant, we are able to see how these 5 participants construct their identity through reflection and how they position themselves in everyday talk. So the study gives insight into the different perspectives Thai individuals have, and I do encourage further research into friendships in and outside of Thailand. Thank you. And here are all the different references that I used. Thank you again. Bye.